My name is Peter Parker.
I was bitten by a radioactive pig.
It's 1933, and I'm a private eye. I like to drink egg creams, and I like to fight Nazis. A lot. Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything. Oh. The only way home is back through that collider gizmo. The only trouble is...
one of us has to stay behind and destroy it.
I'll do it.
When I first saw Into the Spiderverse and heard Nicolas Cage's iconic voice introduce himself as Spider-Man Noir, I thought to myself, this would make a really good spin-off. Sure enough, I wasn't the only one who had that same thought. Fast forward 8 years and we have the very idea materialized into a live-action TV show on Amazon Prime. I gotta give it to Nicolas Cage. Every time you think he's done, there he is, back in a new role, as we all wonder what kind of Nicolas Cage production this is going to be. Today, we're going to look at the good, the bad, and the Nicolas Cage of Spider-Noir. And I'll do my best to not give any spoilers away for those who haven't seen it yet. What up, you guys? I'm Kent E.S. Larwill, and I'm a writer, YouTuber, who talks about everything from philosophy, politics, storytelling, and more. The easiest way to support what I do is to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It's free and takes a second to do. This one, unfortunately, is not on Tubi. It's only on Prime, so hopefully that doesn't fool some of you who are hoping that everything I review will be on Tubi, but I watched this, I figured I'd do my own review on it, so not free. You're gonna have to get that Amazon account if you don't have it to see this. But I'll give a rundown of what it's all about. In Spider-Noir, Nicolas Cage, man, I can't believe that I'm saying that. But hey, somehow Trump got reelected, AI is gonna enslave us in a few decades, and somehow meme coins are a thing? I guess we just have to accept that, Nicolas Cage is now playing a Marvel character. Again. In Spider-Noir, Nicolas Cage plays a private eye detective named Ben Reilly, who fought in the First World War. He's gritty, he's cynical, he's Humphrey Bogart packaged in a web-slinging trench coat, but because of a traumatic past, he's hung up the spider mantle for a few years. That is until a crime boss starts using other mutants to try and take over the town. Slowly but surely, the Spider has to bring himself out of retirement to find out where these mutant powers are coming from, and while also saving the city from corruption and crime. All in all, Spider-Noir is a fun story that does a great deal of world building in its own contained universe. The cast is well thought out, and although some of the critical drinker fans are concerned about the message, the diverse choices for the most part make sense. I'm really happy to see Lamorne Morris take on the integral part of Robbie Robertson, the journalist. Honestly, since the end of New Girl, I thought the only thing he'd ever be seen in again was the Bank of Montreal ads. Gleeson steals the show in every scene he's in. I'd only ever seen him in more comedic roles such as The Guard or In Bruges, but here he plays the ruthless mobster Silvermane, and I have to say, I had no idea that he had that kind of range. I also have to tip my hat off to the writers on this one. You can tell a great deal of effort was put into character depth and plot development. Every character has their own motives, and how things unfold is dependent on how these motives conflict with each other. There's a few hangups that I have, which we'll discuss later, but for the most part, very well done here. Given the many shades of gray in the black and white universe, every character is battling with what is good and what is less good, but selfishly works for them. Even the Spider is struggling to determine what's best for the common good and what's best for him. This internal conflict in each character builds tension in the story that will otherwise fail to carry the same impact as things unfold. But let's talk about some of the bad. The first thing that I want to say is, why is it so hard to get the black and white version? I spent 10 minutes struggling to switch out of the color version but couldn't figure it out. Instead of screwing around with things for another 10 minutes, I said the hell with it and watched it in color. Everything still plays out fine. With the strong toned colors and set, watching it in color actually gives it a bit of a Dick Tracy kind of vibe, which still works very well with the setting. Nonetheless, if the black and white version was easier to access, I would have much preferred it. The internet says if you can go and log in to your Amazon Prime account in a web browser, you can change things there, but this added confusion and effort, which makes things a big L if you ask me. Let me know in the comments below if you had the same kind of hang up, or is it maybe just TV specific on whether you can change it or not. As for a critique of some of the story moments, there's a lot of forced moments that we can go through. Felicia Hardy, who plays the femme fatale and is the Spider's love interest, at one point turns her back on him for personal reasons. This makes sense for her character, but the situation could have potentially been resolved if she just went and asked him directly for help rather than betraying him. The choice seems forced by the writers to carry the plot along. I'm not too disappointed with the outcome, but it was one moment that seemed very out of place, when a much simpler choice or another unveiling of events could have executed things much better. We also have many of Flint's choices being forced. Somehow he goes from troubled to embracing villainhood to troubled again to maybe good, then back to fighting for Silvermane without any remorse. I know they were trying to really make him out to be the struggling to be good kind of guy, but for me it just doesn't land as believable with how far the swings from side to side went. Another forced moment is when Nicolas Cage manages to outsmart Silvermane and convince him not to kill him and Felicia. The way Ben Reilly, or the Spider, sets things up is very cleverly done, and there is a lot of overlying story that explains why Silvermane makes the choice that he does, but if you ask me, it's still a little freaking stretch that Silvermane just takes it for what it is and doesn't even suspect Ben Reilly after that. Complementing this is also the fact that Ben Reilly, who is also the Spider, manages to convince people he's friends with the Spider, and somehow, for the longest time, nobody questions if maybe he's the Spider himself. Like, somehow, as a deadbeat detective, he's friends with the Spider, and no one's coming to the conclusion that maybe he's the Spider that is actually running around town saving people. By the end, people do start to get suspicious, but by that point, all I could say is, well, it's about time that you guys maybe thought about that yourselves. There's also a moment when a doctor working to find a cure to the mutants decides to go full-blown homicidal for no reason, and this plot point had very little to do with the overlying story. Once again, this seemed to be used as an excessive point to put our main character into some temporary danger, right before a greater danger was going to arrive anyways. I asked myself if they could have left this doctor normal, would much have changed in the overarching narrative. No, in fact, it would have served the plot and drama better if she was going to help others, but have her plans spoiled by the gangsters raiding her lab. It's just like a missed opportunity to have, something wholesome about to happen, but then have it spoiled by the gangsters. So we've talked about the good, we've talked about the bad, but now we have to talk about the Nicolas Cage. For the most part, I say he pulls it off. His age shows in some shots, but given he's 62 trying to play a 40-year-old, he does make it work. There is, however, the Nicolas Cage freakouts. We don't have many of them, but the writers couldn't help themselves and had to have a few moments where Nicolas Cage had to go full-blown Nicolas Cage. At one point, they inevitably have Nicolas Cage act out, having a hallucination, and it of course is done in this over-the-top Nicolas Cage way. They milk this for all that it's worth in a 5-minute segment simply to have Nicolas Cage do a Nicolas Cage moment in the series, and if you ask me, I could have really done without it. I know I might be outnumbered on this one, as a bunch of people are likely going to jump in and say, "Come on, Kent, Nicolas Cage has to do the Nicolas Cage things in a Nicolas Cage movie, and I know that this is a Nicolas Cage TV show, but for it to be a Nicolas Cage TV show, we have to have Nicolas Cage do the Nicolas Cage thing, otherwise it's not a Nicolas Cage TV show." Call me the wet blanket if you must, but I think the show could have been stronger with less of these freakouts, and I feel the whole episode is suffering because of this. But hey, feel free to disagree with me in the comments below if you're a die-hard Nicolas Cage freakout fan. Also let me know your thoughts on Spider-Noir if you've seen it. Are you hoping to see a season 2, or has Nicolas Cage worn out his welcome in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? As always, thanks for watching.